Alright, Shalom. I want to say call Allah, Yahweh Bashim Yashai. I want to give double honors to the apostles of the Great Millstone. And Shalom salutation to all the Akim out there that are pushing this word in sincerity and in truth. And, I just wanted to make a quick video on this this link that a brother sent. Okay? And basically, persecution is coming. Okay? And we have to be ready and mindful of these things. Okay? And like the scripture says, watch as well as pray. Okay, so, with that, I'll just play this video.
UN human rights experts are raising warning flags over legislation being introduced in 19 U.S. states that the UN says target free speech. The bills are cracking down on the right to peaceful assembly and protest that UN experts say violate America's First Amendment protections and international human rights laws. In a statement, Mina Kai and David Kaye say these state bills, with their criminalization of assemblies, enhanced penalties, and general stigmatization of protesters, are designed to discourage the exercise of these fundamental rights. Joining me now, human rights attorney and co-founder of the Partnership for Civil Justice, Legal Defense, and Education Fund, Mara Verheyden-Hillard. Mara, thank you so much for being here. In your opinion, what are these bills targeting and why?
Right now, what we're seeing all across the United States is a wholesale attack on basic free speech rights. And it is so dangerous, it simply cannot be overstated what's going on. From state to state to state, there are bills being introduced that basically make engaging in free speech activities extremely dangerous. They threaten the ability of people to be able to come together, to be able to speak out. So some of these bills are trying to increase offenses and charges to felonies for what used to be minor misdemeanors. They have bills that are being proposed that would criminalize blocking traffic in ways that are unheard of. So that a demonstration that's in the street, in the streets and the sidewalks, the parklands, suddenly these become criminal in a way that threatens anyone who wants to go out.
Are we seeing a division between those that are for these bills and those that are against it?
Well, I think that this is really something that's coming about because of the election of Donald Trump. He has given a green light to police forces and to all those legislators around the country who want to shut down free speech. And a lot of these bills are clearly directed at demonstrators who are engaging in social justice activism, in environmental defense, and other things where if we don't have that kind of democratic action, there is going to be such a threat to the future of this country.
Well, we're seeing a lot of activities recently like the Dakota Pipeline protests or the Black Lives Matter protests that may have motivated some against the causes to thwart these protests from actually happening. But at the same time, do you see a cause for people on the right and on the left to all be driven to protect this right? I mean, it wasn't too long ago we had Tea Party protesters.
No matter what your belief is, no matter what your ideology, it's fundamental in the United States that you have the right to come out, you have the right to speak out, and you should be able to do so and stay your mind, be able to speak your mind. But these bills threaten everyone. They threaten everyone no matter what your point of view. But I do believe right now they are absolutely being focused on a movement that has taken to the streets in the last few months where we're seeing a political force in the United States that is not Congress, that is in opposition to the president and his policies, and that is a force of people. And that's why we're seeing this happen.
Do you see the possibility of this coming around to bite the people who are currently for these bills in the rear?
Well, they certainly are going to be, once they're on the books, they affect anyone no matter what your political belief is. So if you want to come out and protest, regardless if you're protesting on the right or if you're protesting for progressive causes, these bills will affect everyone. But right now, the movement for social change and social change in America is a progressive movement. And that's why I think we're seeing these bills being introduced. They're being introduced by right-wing legislators and also by those that are supporting the oil and gas and fossil fuels industry, or those that are, otherwise supporting corporate interests and they want to shut down people's opposition.
Well, I want to take a look at some of the state bills that are currently being proposed. A couple of examples. In Minnesota, demonstrators who break the law could be billed for the cost of law enforcement. In Iowa, blocking traffic on a highway, as you mentioned, could be a felony punishable by up to 5 years. These clearly stem from actual instances, actual protests that have happened, and they can be costly. Is there recourse?
Well, when they want to introduce a bill that, for example, will criminalize protest and will create these opportunities to charge demonstrators for police actions against them, it really turns the idea of democracy and free speech on its head. It's extremely, extremely dangerous. And I think that without a doubt, as we see these bills advance, and some of them are getting passed, including bills that authorize drivers who run over demonstrators, injure or kill people in the
So
streets,
dangerous.
to be immune from liability for killing or maiming a demonstrator who was blocking the street. I mean, what does that say to anyone who wants to come out? And not only these bills, but we're seeing efforts around the country right now to increase charges. Here in Washington, D.C., the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department is charging hundreds of people with felony riot just simply because they were in proximity to other people that broke the law. And there, too, you have the same effort over and over again. If you come out to demonstrate, and you're engaged in lawful activity, if somebody else breaks the law, it doesn't mean that you are the person that should end up going to jail. But this is what they want to do. They want to make it so dangerous for anyone to come out and speak out.
So what do you say to communities looking for relief for the cost in protecting and preserving speech? I think it was a government official that said this was the idea behind this bill in Minnesota when it came to the protest for the Philando Castile shooting. What do you say to them?
Well, I think that any person that is supposedly supposed to uphold and defend the Constitution and yet would move forward with any legislation of this type really is in violation of just the most fundamental rights in this country. And the idea that any of these people are pushing through this kind of legislation, I think in every community that they're seeing that there has to be a concerted effort to go after any legislator that is endorsing this. But more importantly, people need to be unafraid. The fact is this is happening because of the force of people in the street, and the single most important response to that is that people continue to come out and people stand up and people fight back, and that's what people have done throughout history in the United States.
To be fair, I don't think that the people that are going out to support these causes will be chilled by this. In fact, I think they will be even more motivated. I appreciate your time, human rights attorney Mara Verheyden Hillard. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, you heard it. You saw it. Okay, persecution is coming. Okay, and really, at the end of the day, Esau is trying to get the Hebrew Israelites off of the streets. Okay, these other movements, these other groups out there that are not pushing that the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the Israelites, then they're not the ones who are the main focus. The main focus are the Hebrew Israelites, and in particular, Great Millstone. Okay, persecution is coming. Okay, and Esau is trying to roll on us. Okay, so I mean, with that was just a quick news update. I want to say, Call Lali, I'm lying, Yahweh Bashim Yam Shai. I want to give double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone and Shalom and salutation to the brothers that are pushing this word in sincerity and in truth. Shalom.